Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 3rd of May, comes to you from London. And we start, as always, by looking at the dollar index. Dollar just continuing to rise. We're seeing that steady march up the hill here, the short-term uh, cloud chart. The Fed didn't raise rates last night, but the sentiment is that we will see further rises, and so we're just seeing that dollar uh, really powering ahead now. So the recovery well underway, and seeing the euro weaken against the dollar. So we're sitting now in the sort of the 120 area on the euro. Taking a look at the yen, we're seeing the dollar is now just crossing the medium-term chart here as well. So we're just seeing across the board that dollar strength really playing through, and sterling now nudging the 136 level. We've got downside targets to 133.63, so we are just seeing sterling lower. And against the euro, we're seeing sterling lower as well. And against the Swiss franc, we're seeing that too. And against the Australian dollar, 181. So sterling having been as high as 185 just last week, we're really seeing that move coming through there too. Bitcoin is down very slightly this morning, but we did see the last couple of days a little bit of a short-term recovery. Can we make it through the medium-term cloud? Not a lot of work to do now for Bitcoin to do that, so that will be interesting to see. US stock markets last night, we saw the S&P 500 off 0.75%, just ticking down further. So we really are struggling with these markets just to recover, and we're seeing here also the Nasdaq 100 was down about 0.5%, just struggling to get back above the cloud convincingly there, and the Dow was down 0.75% as well. Markets were really waiting for a Fed decision, and in the end, just sold off anyway. So the sentiment is pretty poor, and we're seeing that Dow go lower. The Russell 2000 index was actually up very slightly. So the smaller cap in stocks just didn't really move down. We're seeing the S&P future up very slightly at the moment, and the Nasdaq E-mini also up very slightly. So really not enough of a move to give us a heads up as to which way the markets will open. Seeing the FTSE 100 looking stronger. Really just managing to get back to the position of above the cloud, which is really key on the FTSE 100, looking quite strong and just really powered ahead there. FTSE 250, we also see quite a lot of strength coming through there as well. So, the UK market's benefiting from weaker sterling, that's certainly the case. Looking at the Xetra DAX, finally getting back above the cloud on the medium-term chart, but it really has been lagging. The CAC Quarante we've talked about as looking one of the stronger markets, really just not a lot of work to do for it to make a new all-time high. Japan was down slightly overnight, so we're not yet bullish on that medium-term chart. Hang Seng was also down 1.4%. So we are seeing, and Chinese stocks also still, as much as we were up 0.5% in Shanghai, still quite a worry. The Sensex, the Indian market, down 0.33%, and the Australian market also was up 0.75%, looking strong there, led by some gains in commodities. Brent crude just sitting lower at the 73.30 area, but still medium and long-term bearish. WTI also looking bearish, and US nat gas sitting at 276. It seems to have been at this level for forever. Here we see heating oil looking very like the crude chart. Taking a look at gold. Gold is really just hanging on to this 1300 area. Are we seeing a bounce here on the lagging line in the medium-term chart? Gold does look a little bit oversold in the short term, but we do have these downside targets hanging over us now, so we've just got to be aware that gold could fall through the 1300 area. Silver just starting to recover on the short-term chart. US 10-year yield sitting at 2.97%, not moved dramatically by last night's Fed statement. Apple did actually make some progress yesterday, post results this week, up 4%, so looking much stronger and back on that medium-term chart. Still a little bit of work to do to make a new all-time high, but looking much better, and this was worrying the market. Uh, Amazon was off slightly yesterday, but have had a really good run this last few weeks, and Google, Alphabet, still looking weak below the cloud. Facebook did recover a little bit as well. They're up 1% yesterday, 1.2%. So we are just seeing that recovery continuing in the high 170s. And Microsoft did march up the hill still over the last few weeks, but at just down 1.5% overnight, so just struggling to hold. A really mixed picture in US tech. And so that's just what's dominating the picture at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how we end the week. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.